Good morning, everybody. Sorry for my extreme tardiness in doing this live. I know it was originally set for 9 a.m., but I do have to admit I overslept by quite a lot. And of course, like everybody else, when you wake up, you have your morning ritual to do. So sorry again, guys, for the tardiness, but I'm glad that you guys are here. And if you're watching in this in the replay, thank you so much, you guys, for your support in my ventures online. So today we're going to talk briefly about the Chronicles of Riddick, which is the sequel to the movie Pitch Black. I did talk about Pitch Black last Sunday, so if you haven't checked out that video, please do so, guys, whenever you have a moment. And again, it's just going to be a brief, my talking about it. Um, so yeah, so hopefully you guys will enjoy this this movie review, and I noticed that I spent a lot of time talking about the movie without actually reviewing it. So I'm kind of going to switch things up and really uh, keep my summary of the movie down to a minimum, as close to a minimum as I possibly can, and sort of give you guys my thoughts and opinions about the movie. Because that's kind of my point with this series is really me talking about my thoughts and feelings about the movie and not necessarily summarizing it because I think that for most of you, if you're really interested in watching the movie, you'll watch the movie, you know. So before going anywhere further, I'm going to show you guys a little bit the opening scene of the movie. Now, of course, if you guys are watching this on the replay and you don't see this video clip, I'll try to remember. In fact, I'll put it in the chat now. I know that oftentimes the chat does get replayed, so you'll be able to see, the opening scene of it, on your own. So if you guys, like I said, don't see it in the replay of the live, it's because I tried to trim it out because of copyright claims, right? So, and I'll try to remember to put it in the description as well. So if anybody wants to see the opening scene, you're more than welcome to check it out there in the chat for everybody. So I'm going to play a clip now, and we'll watch it together. And like I said, hopefully you guys can see this. If not, well, like I said, it's going to be in the chat replay. Give me a second, guys. I'm just trying to figure things out here so that it's nice and perfect. There we are. Okay, okay. So this is the opening scene to the Chronicles of Riddick.
Riddick.
I don't know, Toombs. Looks kind of tight.
Not where I'm sitting. This is the biggest payday ever. So throw on a fresh pair of panties. Let's get this right.
3 meters clearance port side, 1.5 meters starboard. We got a choke point coming up. What the shit was that?
Tags, you got eyes on Riddick? Tags?
Jesus. He just ghosted 2 guys and I never even saw him. What do you think, Thomas? I mean, maybe we ought to just...
I think you're my new gunner. Grab a gat. Stay on top of him this time.
You made 3 mistakes. First, you took the job. Second, you came light. A 4-man crew for me is fucking insulting. But the worst mistake you made, empty gun rack. What's your bounty on my head?
1 mil. 1.5.
What slam pays 1.5 for a convict?
Private party.
Hey, guy, easy. Anonymous. That's what the sheet said.
What planet?
Helium Prime.
Whoa, where you going? Last question. And you better get this one right, Merc. Whose ship is this?
Mine.
And that was the opening scene to the Chronicles of Riddick. So I hope you guys like that little clip. Hello, knowledge and relationships. Sorry I didn't see you here, but I'm glad that you're here with the beer and some time, hopefully, for me. But even if you're not drinking at this god awful early time of the day of 10 a.m., uh, either way, thank you for being here. So, as you see, we're talking about the Chronicles of Riddick. So, that was the opening scene of it. Now, for those of you again watching this in the replay, if you're not seeing the clip, it's because, of course, I got a copyright claim and had to remove it. But I did put the link in the chat for those who want to watch it on their own. Um, Now, to talk a little bit about the movie itself, because, of course, hopefully that's why you guys are here. But even if you're just here to support, I'm so glad for all of you and your support. 7 a.m. My goodness, you're. I guess you're living in on the West Coast somewhere, I assume. But yeah, that's either way. It's a bit early, but hey, it's okay. You're here with me, and I'm so glad to have you here. And I hope you're doing very well. Knowledge and relationships. Um, and I sorry I couldn't really watch too much of your live last night. I was feeling very exhausted. Like I said, I just started a second part-time job, and I'm still getting back into the rhythm of working a total of 40 hours, which I haven't done in over 2.5 years. I've been spoiled for the past 2.5 years of just, going into work for 1 p.m. and leaving at 6 p.m. So getting back into that rhythm of working full time is a bit rough on me right now, but it's okay. I'll manage and I'll get going. All right. So we're going to talk, like I said, about the Chronicles of Riddick. Now, on Sunday, I did talk about the first film because Chronicles of Riddick is part of a trilogy, um, and it is, of course, Pitch Black. So, being the sequel, of course, we're going to see the continuation of the story of Riddick, who is, of course, played by Vin Diesel. I'll talk a little. I'll give you guys a little bit of a summary of the movie, but the whole point of this live is for me to give you guys, of course, my personal opinion about the movie. So, in the first movie, Pitch Black, you see an introduction to Riddick, who is a convict. So, he has a criminal record and he is being brought to a penitentiary to spend out the rest of his life there. But unfortunately, for him and for the rest of the crew because this is a ship with a lot of other people. They're all going to other planets, in particular, what's called figured out in the sequel, Helium Prime, etc. So, unfortunately, this ship ends up being heavily damaged by a meteor shower, and they end up on a planet where basically the planet goes into darkness for a long time. And in darkness, that's when these creatures get released and go after any other living creatures, including each other. Now Riddick and hello, Lashes Journey. So glad to see you here. Good morning. I hope you're doing well and that you're not too exhausted from all the work that you're doing with your raised garden beds and working at Walmart again, etc., etc. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, today, Lashes, I'm talking about the Chronicles of Riddick, which is a sci-fi adventure action fantasy movie. I hope you're going to enjoy my review. I hope, but even if you're just here to support, I'm always appreciative of it. So as I was saying, in by the end of the movie, there's only three people that survive. Just hold on a second, guys. I just realized it's. I actually like having the background music. At first, I thought it was a bit annoying, but now that I hear myself talking without it, it kind of feels a little bit weird to me. So I'm just gonna put that on now. Let me know if it's too loud or too low, or if you guys want me to change songs or something. Okay. So here we are. There we go. That's better. Gives a nice little atmosphere. And I have to learn what knowledge and relationship does to have the video playing in the background. I like that. It's definitely different. Anyways, so in the movie Pitch Black, we see that Riddick survives as well as a young girl and the imam. Okay, so they're the only three to survive the adventures in Pitch Black. Now, of course, uh, Riddick being Riddick, of course, they do end up being brought to Helium Prime, but Riddick on the way there separates himself from those two because for him he is a lone wolf essentially. For him, he'd rather be on his own, doing his own thing, and especially since there's still technically a bounty on his head to capture him and bring him to a prison. He doesn't want to put the other people in danger either. Okay, so now we pick up, and as you saw with the opening scene, uh, Riddick is on a ice planet, a winter planet, basically for several years, trying to basically keep his head down, not get captured, etc., and really just stick to being on his own. But of course, he does end up getting found, especially since a new bounty gets put on his head. As you can see, it's 1.5 million, and he finds out that it's a bounty put on his head by somebody from Helium Prime. He quickly puts two and two together and figures that it is the imam that did that in order to get him captured. Of course, at first he's wondering why, what's going on. I saved this guy's life, and I end up getting the bounty on my head by a religious man. Because when I say imam, it is an actual imam. For those of you who don't know, an imam is a religious leader in the Muslim religion. Okay, and so basically, in here we assume that Islam is a religion and that it does actually exist and is practiced by X amount of people. We don't know the full details, but it is a recognized religion in this world. Now, basically, to continue on in the story, it's nothing very complicated, but basically, it's you see that basically find out once that Riddick gets captured, and he does actually get captured in the movie and is brought back. You also find out that there's a new menace in the universe called necromancers. Okay, and that's part of why the Imam, sorry, the Imam wanted. Sorry, my throat is acting up on me again here, guys. Sorry. So the Imam wanted um, Riddick to be captured and brought back to him because essentially these necromancers are going planet to planet and converting everybody to their religion and then destroying the planet. And these necromancers are headed towards Helium Prime, which is where they are, and the girl. I just, 1 second, guys, I want to make sure I'm getting everybody's. Oh yeah, Kira is the name of the girl. Now in the Pitch Black, she was simply known as Jack because she was pretending to be a boy, claiming that it's easier to be a solo traveler as a boy than as a girl. Okay, so in this movie, she's known as Kira. Now, of course, Kira is very angry that Riddick essentially abandoned her and the mom to run off and do whatever he does. And unfortunately, Kira makes a few bad decisions as well and ends up in the same prison that Riddick ends up being in as well. And now things end up being what they are, and Riddick and Kira end up back on Helium Prime. And unfortunately, the Imam is killed by one of the necromancers, and Riddick, of course, avenged the killing of his friend, the Imam. This leaves an impression on the Lord Marshall, who is the leader of the necromancers. Now, necromancers believe that there's another world where the dead go to, and the Lord Marshall is the Lord Marshall because he has visited that other world and has managed to come back. So part of him is in that world, and part of him is in the quote unquote real world, which is why everybody worships him and looks at him as the leader of their religion and of their army, essentially. Um, so basically, when Riddick kills one of the higher ups of the necromancers, uh, they bring him to the half dead, which are telepaths, and that's when it's discovered that um, Riddick is a Furian, which is, and this is where, for those of you who are Christian uh, or Jewish or even Muslim, know this kind of it's a that typical uh, the 10 plagues where uh, Riddick, there was an announcement that Lord Marshall would be killed by a boy that would survive and go after him. So, what does Lord Marshall do during his youth? He goes to Fury and wipes out all the boys, right? So, the storyline is very familiar in the Christian mythos, in the Christian beliefs, right? There's a very similar story like that in the Bible and obviously the Torah and the Quran as well, right? So there's a lot of that kind of storyline that goes on, and of course, what happens by the end of the movie is, of course, um, Riddick does actually succeed in killing the Lord Marshal, and by doing so, he actually becomes the next Lord of the Furians, of the Necromancers. Now, of course, he doesn't want this, but that is what it is. And in the third movie, there is a trilogy. I won't be talking about it today. I might talk about it another time. I haven't seen the movie myself, so I do have to watch it first, and then I'll let you guys know when I'm going to talk about it. So the third is, of course, picking up the aftermath of him as the Lord of the Necromancers. So that's my very quick summary of the movie. So, like I said, I just want to make it quick. I know there's a lot that I didn't mention, but this movie also has been out for quite some time. So I assume you guys have seen the movie, and if you haven't, if you like sci-fi movies, if you like action movies, I do recommend that you watch it if you want to. Okay, obviously that's just my personal recommendation. If you don't like that kind of movie or don't want to, that's absolutely fine. I don't. I'm not making money whether you watch this movie or not. So for me, it's like, look, you guys have your own time. So you guys want to watch it, great, fantastic. You don't want to, no worries, no problem. So, what I thought about the movie. Now, I have to admit that I saw the Chronicles of Riddick first, and then Pitch Black because I just saw Chronicles of Riddick, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me, seems interesting, and I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. Now, there was a bit of, a few scenes here and there that are, were a bit wonky, and like, okay, this is stupid, but overall, I really had a good impression of the movie. So when I was doing a little quick research about the movie to do this presentation, I was a bit surprised that it got negative reviews. Um, I guess I can kind of understand why because it was such a vast departure from Pitch Black. You know, the two tonally are very different. Pitch Black is much more of a horror movie than it is a sci-fi movie, while as the Chronicles of Riddick is much more of a sci-fi movie than a horror movie. So already just the tone of the two movies are very different. Um, in the Pitch Black, it tends to be much more focused on Riddick himself rather than everybody else, while as even though, of course, in Chronicles of Riddick, he's still the central figure, there's a lot more about the necromancers than there is about Riddick himself. So there, that change of tone is kind of jarring if you're watching the movies back to back. Now, of course, there's been some time between the two movies, so maybe they decided, okay, well, that's why we want to bring the movie to different road. Now, of course, like I said, I haven't seen the third movie, so I'm not really sure where they're going with that in that movie with the tone and so forth. Now, what I liked about it is the fact that you are, ironically, even though a lot of people criticize for the tone change, I actually like that. I like the fact that you're shown, it to me that tone really shows the difference in where he's at in his life and where he's what he's going through as well, right? In Pitch Black, it's much more I'm surviving these creatures that are after me, rather than in Chronicles of Riddick, you're trying to survive the quote unquote big bad evil religion that's coming to forcibly convert everybody, right? Because that's one of the elements in the movies of the necromancers are a religious organization trying to force everybody to convert, and if you don't convert, you die essentially, right? And not only do you die, but your whole planet literally dies. They have these machines that destroy the entire planet, right? So of course the tone change is necessary. Okay, so I like it, and I do agree that it is necessary. Now, what I do also like about the Chronicles of Riddick is, how Vin Diesel plays Riddick in this movie. I think in the first movie he played him much more, much more goofy. Like and I get it. Like it was more like fun, and oh, Riddick is just, you know, having fun at everybody's expense, and he sees somebody die. Oh, it's fun, and it felt a little bit more on that level of things for me. While as with Chronicles of Riddick, felt like Vin Diesel was playing him much more stoically, much more seriously, much more like I've been through things that are not fun. I don't enjoy this, and I'm just trying to live my life in peace and quiet on my own without bothering anybody. And if I do go against the law, it's because I have to. I'm not doing these things because I want to. I'm not out here trying to do harm to people. I just am trying to live my life on my own, and that's it. Right? So, um, for him, it's in this movie in particular, it's like he doesn't want to be the lord of the necromancers. He doesn't want to be in prison. He doesn't want none of that. He just wants to live, and it really shows in Vin Diesel's portrayal of him. That hey, look, I'm just I'm serious. I just want to be left alone. I just want to be on my own thing here. So that's another thing that I like about the movie. The other thing I do like about the movie is the whole mythos of the necromancers and how it's portrayed, right? So it really goes into the whole idea of, oh, nice little bot here. Oh, at least the Russians decided to visit me, as long as they don't do it with uh, tanks and so forth. Report you. So there we go. There we go. So there we are. Took care of that Russian bot. So, anyways, as I was saying, I do like the whole mythos of the necromancers, right? Um, where there's that question of what is like, are we the is this the only universe that we have? Is this the only dimension that we have, right? Because that was what was hinted at in the movie. Is there is another dimension. When you die, you go somewhere else, right? So again, that plays into the whole Christian mythos where there is an afterlife, right? There is another world beyond the physical realm that we're in that is actually tangible, and you could go there even without dying, right? So I do like that idea that there is these, the other dimension, these other worlds that you can go to that you don't necessarily know or are aware of, or that you're just there waiting, for your death in order to get to that other place, right? And they're saying, no, you can go there here and now, right? So I mean, they have this whole world, um, and they have the telepaths that are old soldiers that whose brain still works, but everything else doesn't, and their brain is so developed that they're telepathic and can predict the future as well. So that's how, like I said, they were able to discover that Riddick was that chosen child that's supposed to take down Lord Marshall. So it was really enjoyable to see this whole world building around the necromancers and so forth. Now, obviously, they didn't go too much into it, which I do like. I do like when they keep it, very, very basic, right? I don't, I don't want it to be everything told and explained to me. I do think that it's nice to have some things as a mystery, some things as you have to figure it out on your own. Hello, hello, Paralife. How you doing? Happy morning. Good morning to you, sir. I'm so glad to see you. I've missed you. I haven't been able to catch a few of your videos, but I do know that you posted a few. But thank you for being here and spending a few minutes with me. So I'm obviously talking about the Chronicles of Riddick. I already showed the opening clip of the movie, which is Riddick being attacked on a particular planet, an ice planet, and then finding out there's a bounty on his head from Helium Prime. And I'm basically now in the mode of reviewing, my thoughts, revealing my thoughts, I should say. I did give a basic explanation of the movies. I hope you saw the movies, but I'm not going into too much details about it, so there's not too much, spoiler alerts or anything else like that if you haven't seen the movie. So I basically, I'm just talking about, my personal thoughts on the movie and, if, that I liked it and so forth. So I already mentioned the tone of the movie that I liked, and I did mention, I'm just about to finish talking about the fact that I like the fact that they're world building the necromancers, which is the bad guys in the movies. Okay, and I did talk about Vin Diesel's acting or portrayal the, of Riddick, who's of course the character that he plays. What else did I like about the movie? Oh yes, of course I absolutely like um, the special effects in this movie because of course, like any movie that is about space travel, of course it has to have a certain amount of technology that doesn't exist that needs to be portrayed by, of course, CGI. And they don't. I mean, that's the thing with what wonderful another bots. Um, there we go. Remove. Oh boy, wonderful. Give me a second here, guys. Got a spam bots here as usual. There we are. Okay, okay. Just gotta deal with this guys for a second. Won't be much longer. Okay. Oh, you haven't posted? I thought you had posted some videos, Caroline. But I'm sorry to hear that you're out of commission. Yeah, I understand that sometimes life happens outside of YouTube that messes up our YouTube scheduling and the YouTube life and so forth. But yeah, no, it's a good movie, Paralife. I do recommend that you watch it if you can. I'm not sure if it's available on Netflix or and stuff like that, so you'll have to look it up. I know for sure you can buy it or rent it on YouTube. If that is of interest to you, I liked it. I definitely recommend it. It is a sci-fi movie, so obviously, if you're not into sci-fi, you might not like it too much. But if you are into sci-fi, you probably will like it. At least I hope you will. But let me know if you do watch it, and let me know your thoughts on the movie. But yeah, not giving too much spoilers either way. But yeah, I know some people are like, no, don't spoil the book or the movie. I don't want to know nothing. And it's like you want to talk about it to somebody, so you kind of always have to be careful sometimes of who you say what to. So anyways, so as I was saying before, we were rudely interrupted by the Russian bots. Obviously, when it comes to a sci-fi movie, that's obviously space travel. There is a certain amount of special effect that is needed because you're obviously representing things like spaceships, which technically for us don't exist, right? There is no, yes, we have space shuttles that allows us to go to the moon or the International Space Station, but we don't have any kind of, spaceships or vehicles that allow us to travel to other planets, right? Sort of like what you see in Chronicles of Riddick or Star Trek, Star Wars, right? All that kind of stuff. So obviously, they do have to use a certain amount of special effects for those things. Um, but there are also special effects for things that are not too obvious as well that you would think we needed. And that's what I like is that when it's subtle, it's very subtle in this movie. You're not going to oh, that's obviously special effect. That's obviously, like they have these on the prison planet that Riddick was on at the beginning of the film. There are these dogs that are obviously not regular human dogs, right? Those are portrayed by CGI. Now it's obviously CGI, but I think it's CGI that's well done, where it's not you have CGI from back in the 80s and 90s where it's like, oh my god, how is anybody impressed by this? This is like so horrible. Like it was so horribly done. While the CGI in here, even a few years later, because I think this movie came out in 2002 or 2004, something like that, it still holds up. Hey, Stewart family, good morning. How you doing? So happy to see you guys here. So I'm just talking about my thoughts of on Chronicles of Riddick. I won't go too much into repeating what I was talking about, but basically, I showed a video where I showed the opening scene of the movie. I, gave a quick little, talk about what the movie is about, and of course, I'm now sharing my thoughts about the movie. So I mentioned how there was a different tone change between Pitch Black because Chronicles of Riddick is the sequel to Pitch Black, so there's a tone change. I also talked about the mythos a little bit quickly of the necromancers and how I liked the sort of mythos that they were building of it. I also talked about Vin Diesel's acting, and I just finished up talking about the special effects that were used in the movie. You're doing great. Excellent. Always glad to hear that you guys are doing great. So yeah, so those are some of the things that I liked about the movie. Um, Now, a couple of the criticisms that I have about the movie is one of them is um, Kira, who is Jack in Pitch Black. Um, the actress, it's not that she did a bad job. It's just that the character felt very whiny to me. Felt very like that, and I get that she's supposed to be this little girl that's maybe 15, 16, 17 years old. Although in the the actress playing her, you kind of felt like, okay, she might be in her early 20s, but that would make it worse for me. That like at 22, 23, you shouldn't be coming off as a whiny little girl. Like I get at 12 years old, girls tend to be a little bit whiny and complain a lot and things like that. That I can believe, but like if you're in your 20s and you're still whining, oh, you left me, oh, you didn't know you back. It's like, come on, people leave, people come and go. Now, of course, it's said that, oh well, it's because she was in love with Riddick, but it's like, come on, no, it was played off more as this petulant little child whose favorite brother left, and not this man that, oh, I'm in love with him, or I have a schoolgirl crush on this boy, and it's like, oh, I'm so sad that he's now dating somebody else, or he's now left me. It's like, no, it's she really it really felt like she was portrayed Kira as this little girl that just didn't get her favorite toy, and it's like, come on, like, and especially she ended up making shitty decisions because of her quote unquote love for Riddick, and oh, how dare he abandon us and everything. So it's just like, come on, it was really just not well portrayed, really not well represented at all. So I really didn't like it. So, um, and what else? I also felt a little bit weird with what's her name, because there was a another character. I do want to make sure I get this right. Da, da, da. Okay, they're not listing her. Anyways, um, there was of course Tandy Newton that was in this movie, who played Dame Vaco on in the movie, and of course Carl Urban who played Lord Vaco. Um, I'm kind of iffy about whether I like their characters or not. Um, at at the beginning of the movie, these two characters came off as very much, kind of power hungry. More Dame Vaco than Lord Vaco. For Vaco, it felt like he was more than happy just serving the Lord Marshal, but you got the sense with Dame Vaco that she was really wanted him to become the next Lord Marshal, and really pushing him to go after Lord Marshal and really uh, kill him essentially, because that's how the power goes from one person to another. It's never okay because you're my son. You end up with the, 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 the rulership. You end up being the king. No, it's you have to kill the king in order to become the king. So of course, she really wanted him to have that power. Was kind of whispering in his ear all these things of like, to really encourage him to go after, to the point where even at the end of the movie when when Riddick was battling Lord Marshall, sorry guys, um, Lord Baco actually did interfere as well, which is generally not accepted. But when you're trying to go after, the king and become the king, sometimes just things happen and things are done regardless. Sorry, another character that's in the movies. I thought It could have gone further with this character was the Purifier, which was played by Linus Roach. Okay, we do discover he's sort of like, I guess, the pastor or the priest in if you're continuing on with the whole Christian mythos or Christian reality comparison. Um, we find out later on in the movie that he is actually a Fury himself. That um, rather than dying, he decided to be, part of that world, to be part, to become a necromancer as well. Sorry, this guy's had to increase the volume a little bit. So he, converted to the religion in order to avoid, you know, uh, being killed himself. So of course, when he finds out that Riddick, they're on a sun planet that they have to escape, which is goes back to that whole tone change that we had before, right? So on in Pitch Black, Riddick was on a dark planet where you're trying to escape the night. On this one, it's nothing but day. You're trying to escape the sun. So it's again that whole tone change that ends up being different. And in this one, that's when he reveals to, um, you know, Riddick that hey, I'm also a Furin. I have a mark, and they do show each other's that mark, and that goes back to as well how I was saying with the whole side, the whole special effects. Sometimes it's subtle. You see a handprint that's basically glowing, right? So that's a signal to other Furins that hey, I'm a Furin myself, and I've received the revelation as well, right? And I felt that it could have his backstory. Obviously, we don't get a whole lot because it is a revelation, and he does sacrifice himself so that Riddick does continue on and say, hey, look, you're the one that can change everything for us. Don't never mind me. Don't mind me. Forget me. I'm not important. But we do need to make sure that Lord Marshall is taken down. That's what counts, right? So he does sacrifice himself. And I thought, okay, well, I would have liked to have known more about his backstory and find out how did he get to that. Like, was he on the Fury planet? Was he somewhere else? What's going on, right? So you have a lot of these side characters as well that some of them were well played, some of them, could have been better, could have done better. But overall, I liked the movie in general. So that's basically my thoughts on the movie, guys. So if you're watching this on the replay and you watched the movie Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick, please do let me know what your thoughts are. I will be watching the third one soon enough, and when I do, I will be letting you guys know what those are. I'm just gonna stop the music. There we go. So I will be making my schedule for my upcoming live soon enough. I will be changing a scheduling for a couple of shows, just because like I said, my life has changed outside of YouTube. So my about page, I should say, it will change to sort of change shows that the consequences are hey, I got another job and life has changed for me. So do keep up with that. In consequence, obviously, my lives, the schedule will change as well. So that's it for me this morning, guys. So I hope you enjoyed my review of the movie The Chronicles of Riddick. And I do hope to see you guys next week, starting tomorrow, obviously, where tomorrow I will be continuing my series of reading quietly the book Game of Thrones. Monday will still be my French lessons. Tuesday, I think I probably will move my art review to Wednesday and make my book reading Tuesday night instead of Tuesday morning. So that's one of the minor changes that I'm going to have. So basically, I will be having episodes every day, but just more at night during the week and obviously in the morning during the weekends. So I might go live later today, maybe, but I do have a few things to do including going to see my mother. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to go live tonight, but if I do, I hope to see you guys there. If not, I hope to catch you guys in one of your lives or in somebody else's live. So have a great day, guys. I hope everybody's doing well and have a fantastic weekend, everybody. All right. Bye, guys. Au revoir.